All right, let's start then. Let me share a screen. This is. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
স্যার আর একটু লাউডলি বললে ভালো হতো স্যার, একটু স্লো শোনা যাচ্ছে আর কি।
Okay, so this is an exercise, huh? This is an exercise. You need to do this exercise. I will ask you one by one. So in the last year, we discussed about the difference between manager and leader, right? Manager and leader. So here you see there are some activity mentioned in this table. So review the activities in the table below and determine whether they are mainly leadership or management based. Are they fall under leadership or management? So human resource management. Is it leadership or management?
Management.
Management.
Yeah.
All right. So this is management, right? This is management. Career planning.
Career planning. Management.
Career planning. Leadership or management?
Leadership.
Management, sir.
Leaders try to or not. So they will try to push you up on your career ladder. So this is actually leadership, career planning. Team time tracking.
Leadership.
Team time tracking. Management or leadership?
Team time.
Management.
Management. It's management.
Management, right? They will be more focused on whether you are doing this or that, or doing timely or not. That will be their main focus. So they will actually used to follow the time tracking systems. But as I talked in agile team, self-organizing, then cross-functional, they actually manage their own time. So they don't actually wait for the manager. So this is actually management. Team member recognition. Team member recognition. Leadership, right? They will recognize that people. Task assignment.
Management.
It's management.
Right? Yeah. Brainstorming, team brainstorming.
Leadership.
That yeah.
Leadership.
Brainstorming means to involve everyone so that they can innovate, they can think differently, come up with some idea. So this is actually brainstorming. So that goes with the leaders. Then planning workshops.
Leadership,
right? They will involve everyone in a workshop and they will together do the plan. But if it is management, then manager did the plan and they push to implement that plan. Last one, creating Gantt charts.
management.
Yeah, right, management. Gantt chart means project schedule. Using any software like Microsoft Project or Primavera, they will create a Gantt chart and follow that Gantt chart. All right. So these are the actually difference between leaders and managers. But what we mentioned in PMBOK that to be a good and successful project manager, we actually have to take good things from both sides. I have to take good things from management, also I have to practice the leadership skills. Okay, so today we will start. Oh, this is YouTube video already. Okay. So let me check one thing. Recordings. Just I am deleting all the previous recordings from June. Otherwise, this last record will not be here because the size is already over. All right, done. Okay. Okay, so last class we finished the role of the project manager. Today we will start with chapter number 4. I will say chapter number 4, but let me open up that one slide. Sorry, I am taking some time. Okay. Let me open up the PM book. Chapter number 2, 3. Let me go to chapter number 1, page number 25. So the process chart that we discussed in the second class most probably, that is the heart of PM block, right? This table. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes, this table is the heart of PM block. And we discussed a lot of things about this. So let me make it visible. Yeah. So see, so what we did, actually we have not touched yet this process chart, right? So we have completed chapter 1, 2, 3. Today we'll start chapter number 4, the integration management. But what I will do, let me show that. Actually, I will not in the first 1, 2 classes from now, I will not follow the chapters. Though as per the sequence, I should start chapter 4. That I do actually, that I will do today. But what I will do, I will follow this process actually, initiating process. That means I will start project integration management. And today I will cover develop project charter and some part of develop project management plan. All right. Then what I will do, I will come straight here. Vertically, I'll. Hello? Shahid?
Charter.
Right. So after completing the charter, what I'll do? I will actually start integration management chapter, complete the develop project charter and some part of develop project management plan. Then I will come here. In initiation group, there are 2 processes, right? First one is develop project charter and second one is identify stakeholders. So what I'll do, I will come here. So today we'll, after completing first two processes of integration management. One is develop project charter, another one is develop project management plan. Then will step come here, because at the initiation stage we have two processes. Practically, processes. One is project charter, second one is identify stakeholders. After doing this, then we will be able to start other processes. That's why I will teach you following this. After completing this, what I do, I will actually complete the whole stakeholder management chapter. All right. In the next class, I will go to chapter number 10, project communication management. In the next class. So these two classes, I will actually not the follow of the chapter sequence of PMBOK. I will follow my style. Where from this style comes? This style is actually when we do practically project management, then actually we do this. We first develop the project charter, then we do develop the high level project management plan. And then we do the identify stakeholder process. Because if we don't know who are our stakeholders, we cannot do other processes. So that's why we have to do this process at the initiation of the project, initiation process group. Stakeholder process and other process of stakeholder management. Okay, so in integration management, what we are seeing in integration management, there are 7 processes. So from here, we already know there are 7 processes in integration management, right? These are the 7 processes, 4.1 to 4.7, total 7 processes. Okay. So when we will start any chapter, any knowledge area, what we will see in PMBOK, you will see a definition of that knowledge area. All right, you will see a definition of knowledge area. Definition means what is the purpose of this knowledge area in project management? Why we need this knowledge area for our project management? So that definition of that benefit is mentioned in the first pair of PMBOK. All right, then you will see 4 sections. At the beginning, you will see 4 sections. So today, when I will start integration management, then I will explain that what are the 4 sections and why those sections are required. So every chapter from now on, when we will start any knowledge area, we will see this figure. So these are the 10 knowledge areas, right? So today, where are you now? We are now here, right? Project integration management. This knowledge area is sitting at the center of all the knowledge areas. And the main job of this integration management is to unify, integrate, coordinate, and communicate with all the other knowledge areas, all the processes, and all the activities of project management. So that's why I am showing integration management at the center of all the knowledge areas. Okay. So this chapter is consists of 40 pages. 40 pages. So this is not a big chapter. Okay. So I have actually taken the snippet, right? Taken the snippet from where? From this table. I am showing this one and this one. So you have to actually clearly understand develop project charter. It is under which process group? Initiation process group, right? And under planning process group, in integration management, there is only one process, develop project management plan. And executive
charterটা কি স্যার একটু বলবেন স্যার?
I will go there. I will get there. Just I am first giving the high level doing the high level discussion, then I will enter here and I will discuss detail. All right. Okay, so in the executing process group, there are two processes, right? Direct and manage project work and manage project knowledge. And under monitoring and controlling process group, in project integration management knowledge area, two processes. And finally, in last process group, closing process group, only one process, close project or phase. Okay. So again, question, huh? I think I have discussed already about this question. Can integration management be delegated or transferred? As a project manager, can you delegate or transfer integration management responsibility to others? Can you do that? What do you think?
Cannot be delegated.
Right, that last day I discussed now. You cannot delegate integration management to others because this is the sole responsibility of the project manager. So this knowledge area is especially very important for the project managers because this is his job actually, this knowledge area, because he is responsible for integrating everything of the project, right? So this is the main knowledge area of project manager. As a project manager, main focus knowledge area will be integration management. Okay, so what is the definition or why we should do the integration management? So as I mentioned in the first paragraph of PMBOK, you will see this definition. Project integration management includes the processes and activities to identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate the various processes and project management activities within the project management process groups. All right. So I talked about this thing few times, I think, already. So main job of integration management is unification of all the project activities and all the processes of PMBOK, consolidation, communication, and interrelationship. So these are the main responsibility of this knowledge area. All right. So if I show here, so integration management, same thing I am showing here. It will be sit at the middle and it will integrate it with other knowledge areas. So the same thing I am again showing. First process is develop project charter. Second one is project management plan. Then direct and manage project work. Manage project knowledge is the fourth process, and this is new process. Please keep an eye on this process because you will get 2-3 special questions from this knowledge area because this process was not in any other versions of PMBOK, earlier versions. So first time this is introduced, manage project knowledge. And then 4.5 is monitor and control project work, perform mitigate change control, and close project or phase. So in the second class, I discussed what all these processes do in project management. So what is the project charter that I am coming? And also I will discuss today about develop projects management plan in high level, not detail. So manage project knowledge, please give a special focus on this process. So main activity of manage project knowledge is use existing knowledge of the organization, then creating new knowledge from this project, and after the project contribute to organizational learning. So this is the main work of this managed project knowledge process. Now, as I mentioned, in every chapter you will see 4 sections. At the beginning you will see 4 sections. In the first section, after definition and benefit of the knowledge area, you will see first section, name of the first section is key concepts for project integration management. That means key concepts. That means to understand this chapter, this knowledge area, what are the definition, what are the concept you need to know to understand this chapter. So this thing actually discussed in this section. So integration management, first thing is integration management cannot be transferred or delegated to others. This is solely project manager's job. As a PM, as a project manager, this is your responsibility to do this. Integration management is specific to PMs. All right. Then the more complex the project, the integration management will be similarly will be more complex. For a small project, maybe the complexity will be lower, but for bigger projects, the complexity will be higher. Okay. Then second section, PMBOK is talking about trends and emerging practices in integration management. So what are the new things that actually we need to understand, we need to know as a project manager while we will do the integration management. So trends are what? Use of automated tools. As you know, IT is booming, right? Everywhere IT component is there. So in project management, also a lot of IT tools and techniques are used, right? So if your organization is using any tools, for example, Microsoft project, you are using Microsoft project, MSP, or you are using Jira, right? Jira is another popular project management software that is used in IT organizations. Then you can use Trello, Trello. This is another open source project management software. And another open source that is also popular is Asana. Asana, ASANA, asana.mostprobably.org. So if you go to this website, they are actually cloud-based project management software. So if your organization is using any software that is actually centrally managing all the every activities, then artifacts, all the things of documents, all related to project management will be centrally managed by the automated tool. So when you are doing integration management, you have to consider this. Second trend, what is use of visual management tools, right? That is very important. We now use different kind of visual management tools. That can be normal task board, or in whiteboard, you are mentioning the progress or activities of the projects, or you can use any software like and expanding the project manager responsibilities. Can anyone say something about this? Expanding the project manager's responsibilities. Can anyone say something about this? Give any light on this?
মানে বুঝাতে স্যার যে প্রজেক্ট ম্যানেজমেন্টের যে রেসপন্সিবিলিটি গুলো আরো বাড়াইতে হবে, এক্সপ্যান্ড।
হ্যাঁ। So project manager only not manage project only. Very important. Project manager is not only responsible for managing project. The organization is actually asking lot more than project management from a project manager. What are those? Those is actually you have to understand business. What are the strategies of the organization? So if you don't know or understand the strategy of your organization, then actually you cannot generate value from your project. So you have to understand strategy, you have to understand the whole business of the organization, not only focusing on that project. You have to understand the whole scenario, whole business of your organizations, and which department does what, who are responsible for what. So everything you need to understand, you have to know. You have to understand marketing, you have to understand sales, you have to understand contract management, legals, because all these things are integrated part of project management. So methodologies, right? Life cycle, predictive, iterative, incremental, মনে আছে? Can you remember? Agile, কারো কথা শুনতেছে না।
জি স্যার।
Can you remember? কথা বলতে হবে। So hybrid methodologies. What is hybrid methodology?
কিছু মেথডোলজি মিক্স স্যার।
Mixing of some part is agile and some part is predictive.
জি স্যার।
If this kind of methodology used in project management, then that is known as hybrid methodologies. PMI actually, from one survey, they showed that 78% organizations, those who are champion in project management, very expert in project management, they actually don't use only one methodology. They actually, based on the situation, based on the requirement, they actually follow hybrid methodologies. In some places they use agile, incremental or iterative, and in some places in the same project they use predictive methods. So those are 78% organizations. Those are champion organizations in project management. All right. So this is the new trend. Okay. Now tailoring considerations. Can you remember what is tailoring? In every chapter you will see tailoring considerations. That means tailoring is what? So based on our purpose, based on the size of the project, complexity of the project, we have to tailor processes, knowledge areas, tools and techniques. It is not mandatory that for every project you will use all the processes, all the tools, techniques for every project similarly or same degree of detail. So based on your project, you have to tailor integration management also, right? If the project is very big, then the responsibility of integration management will be very big, large. But for a small project, maybe we can discard a lot of things, and we can tailor integration management also. So every knowledge area you have to think about tailoring. So what are the things we need to consider? We need to focus on when we will do the tailoring of this chapter, this knowledge area. This knowledge area means 7 processes and all the ITTOs. ITTO means input to techniques and outputs of all the processes that you need to tailor based on your requirement, based on your project, based on your complexity and size of the project. All right. So you have to think about the first factor you have to think, that is project life cycle. What is project life cycle? Can anyone remember what is project life cycle? Can anyone say? What is the definition of project life cycle? Just Abdullah or Hirsi, Sulaiman, can
Yes,
anyone
sir.
say? What is the definition of project life cycle?
Project life cycle is independent of product life cycle, which may be produced in project. That's right.
But from start to end of the project, we divide the project into different phases. This collection of phases is known as project life cycle, right? So based on the project, we will actually decide what will be our phases, how many phases we will use, and what will be the name of the phases, and when we will start and after which phase we will finish. So all these things we need to consider when we do the tailoring of integration management, right? And development life cycle, there are 5 types of development life cycle, right? Predictive, iterative, incremental, agile, and hybrid. So which one we prefer for this project, particularly for this project? So we have to based on that we have to tailor. So these are the actually tailoring consideration factors. And what is the next thing? Management approach. How, as a project manager, how will approach to manage this project? So these are actually management decisions. Then knowledge management. How we'll do the knowledge management for this project? Learning from the past, and how can you? So can you help me now? I was disconnected for a few minutes. Can you see me?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Rajan,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me, Rajan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you are coming from office.
Yes,
Late
sir.
by
I have reached.
30
I have
minutes.
reached now. Yeah. I most of time I have worked with
all right.
foreign part. That's why Monday
Okay.
is too much work.
Okay, so let me share again because too much load on Monday. No? Okay, so I was discussing this slide. So these are the consideration we need to take into account when we will do the tailoring for this integration management knowledge area. Finally, agile and adaptive environments. What we will do for agile and adaptive environments. Sorry. So if you are doing a project in agile environment or adaptive environments, that actually a special focus you have to provide on that kind of project. If that is a agile type project, so then actually integration management will be quite different than the general uh, type of project. The slides are jumping. Okay. So now I will start the develop project charter process. All right. So this one, right? Develop project charter. So this I will start up. So Shahid was asking what is project charter, right? So project charter is a document, is an official document which actually officially approve the project. After approval of this document, as a project manager, you can start the project. Otherwise, you cannot. You can't. All right. So so what will be in the project charter? So in the project charter, main things the project charter will contain. First thing is the project title, the name or title of the project. Then description of the project. What are we going to do in this project? Project. The answer of why. Right? Why you are doing the project? W. Then when you are going to do the project. Then who are the main stakeholders for this project? And who will be the project manager? This is the first document spelled out, mentioned. For this project, this guy will be the project manager. And what will be the responsibility, authority, and competency. Mainly responsibility and authority of the project manager that will be mentioned in this project charter. And high-level risks, assumption, constraints, budget, schedule, all high-level things of related to the project will be included in project charter. All right. So project charter, the length of the project charter generally will be 2-3 pages, not more than that. Within 2-3 pages, you have to capture all this information. Right. Very small document, and this is actually a brief description, brief justification, high-level risks, assumption, constraint, then deliverables. All these things will be in this project charter. This project charter will.
Hello.
Have you downloaded the book, Rita? In the morning, I have given a link to download Rita book. Have you downloaded it?
জি না স্যার, আজকে স্যার আপনার কথাগুলো অনেক কেটে কেটে আসতেছে, মানে নেটের প্রবলেম হয়তো আপনার ওখানে।
তাই নেটে তো একবার।
জি স্যার, অনেক সময়
The complaint is only from Shahid or complaint is same?
ভাইয়া হ্যাঁ, কথা কেটে কেটে আসতেছে, অনেকক্ষণ অফ থেকে থেকে আসতেছে।
Oh,
This same problem.
Oh, then I need to change. Maybe let me use the mobile data then. Let me just switch my connection to mobile data.
Yes, sir.
জি
Okay.
ভাইয়া
All right. Is it better or not? Let me. Okay, I have actually shared a link in WhatsApp today to download the Rita book, and also I have assigned a small homework to read page number 139 to 141. So,
I have download, but
yeah.
not complete the homework.
Okay. So actually, now anyone else downloaded? Momo আপনি কি ডাউনলোড করছেন? নাসির ভাই?
আমি ভাইয়া বইটা কিনছি আমি মানে আমার কাছে কেনা আছে আর কি
Okay.
রেজা ভাই আমি
কিন্তু
ডাউনলোড করতে পারি
আমি আজকে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে ছিলাম না দেখে আমি মেসেজটা পাইনি এখন
আচ্ছা।
শুনলাম
হ্যাঁ, নাসির ভাই পারেন নাই না? নাসির
না
ভাই?
পারিনি they are asking for password and other stuff so it will take some time probably Microsoft থেকে they are asking for password মানে পাসওয়ার্ড মিসম্যাচ বা এরকম কিছু হচ্ছে
ও মানে ওটা কি চাওয়ার কথা না, এটা তো জাস্ট লিংকে ক্লিক করলে ডাউনলোড হওয়ার কথা। শাহিন কি ডাউনলোড করতে পারছেন?
এটা ভাইয়া রিতার বুক কোন এডিশন
9th এডিশন।
9th এডিশন হ্যাঁ ভাইয়া এটা আছে
শাহিন কি
স্যার আই
আপনি
হ্যাভ
ডাউনলোড
স্যার আমি এটা ডাউনলোড করেছি আগে ডাউনলোড করেছি আর কি অন্য একটা সোর্স থেকে সো আপনার ইয়ার থেকে ডাউনলোড করা হয়নি আর কি সেজন্য আমার কাছে আগে থেকেই আছে আর কি এটা
ওকে আব্দুল্লাহ সুলাইমান did you able to download the document that I have shared with you in WhatsApp?
I will download.
I have seen an internet problem, so I did not download it. I will download it tonight.
Hmm? So I don't know if we are
There-
going to download or not, huh? Sulaiman?
But I will download now. If I'm others. Okay.
Okay, so you will download later.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me show the book, show the book and those 3 pages so that you can understand what actually project charter contains.
স্যার আপনার লিংকে মনে হয় সমস্যা আছে একটু লিংকটা একটু চেক করবেন কি আমার লিংক থেকে ডাউনলোড করা যাচ্ছে না আপনার লিংক থেকে
কি বলে?
হ্যাঁ
না কি বলে সেটাতে?
আমার কাছ থেকে সরাসরি এটা মেলে যাচ্ছে আউটলুকে চলে যাচ্ছে আউটলুকে কোনো ফাইল নাই ফাইল কোনো ইয়া দেখাচ্ছে না
Anyone should be able to download this. All right, let me open the file and the page number 139 to this. So let me share the document. Okay. So can you see the project charter? So is it visible now, project charter?
জি ভাইয়া
yes
All right, so you see project charter, this is a small document, and as I mentioned, this document will capture high level of everything of the project, especially see the project title what? Upgrade the payroll systems, this is the project name. Then description, description in short. Then project manager assigned and authority level. Who will be the project manager? Here Ishai Higgins is the project manager, and what will be his responsibility in project and authority in the project. Then business case. Can you remember business case? Before starting the project, we have to create the business case, not the project manager.
Yes.
This is the responsibility of other departments, other guys. So business case means justification of the project. So in the business case, we have already justified why we are doing the project, and management already approved the business case. So, and we know there are a lot of things in business case, right? Justification of the project, then financial appraisal, how much benefit the organization will get from this project, business value, and also another thing we have created at the same time, that is actually benefit management plan, right? Benefit management plan. So we are taking justification input from that business case. Okay, so then resource pre-assigned. Resource pre-assigned means at the beginning of the project, if some resources, that can be people resource or any facility or any equipment for your project, if that is assigned by the sponsor for your project, so that will be mentioned here. That is actually resource pre-assigned. Then
ভাই
key
আরেকবার একটু
stakeholder.
রিপিট করবেন
Which
রিসোর্স
one?
এটা আরেকবার এটাই ভাইয়া এই যে এই পয়েন্টে রিসোর্সেস
Okay. So at the beginning of the project, if your sponsor assign some people resource or any kind of material resource like equipment, facility, or other things, we assign. You have not started the project, but management already selected or assigned some people. Say there is a good architecture in your organization, and for this project, management is thinking that architecture, that architect, or that programmer, or that engineer should be involved in this project. So they can pre-assign him for this project. So the name of that people or that resource or material or equipment you will include here. ঠিক আছে? No.
জি
All right. Then key stakeholder list. So that means this is the first document of project management. So at this right moment, at the initiation, if we can identify any stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are those who are having any kind of influence in the project and who will be impacted by the project. So that person, individual, group, or institute or organizations, all will be considered as stakeholder. So if we know at that time who will be our stakeholder for this project, then we will include their names, their address, their contact here. So this is the stakeholder list. Then in the next page, the list, the stakeholder requirements as known. This is the high level requirements, not detailed, because detailed requirement we will do later on. This is a high level requirement. If we know, then we can write here. Then next is high level product description, key deliverables, mainly actually key deliverables, what we are going to deliver from this project. So just in bullet point, high level, you will write these 3 or 4 things we are going to deliver from this project. Then high level assumptions. Assumption means the things or the items or the conditions we are thinking that will be true for the project. That is known as project assumptions, high level assumptions. So assumptions we will actually will detail down on assumptions, but here we are capturing the high level assumptions. Then high level constraints. Constraints means what? That is known limitation. If we have or a sponsor of anybody who have the authority, if they sets any constraint, any known limitation to the project, then that is known as constraint. For example, the project must be delivered within 6 months, or project must be delivered within $1 million. So these are the constraints, example of constraints. So that you need to identify and write here. And next one is measurable project objective. Can you remember project success measures in the first chapter? Project success measure, project manager, and also the sponsor, everyone need to identify what will be the project success measures, KPI or metrics, that we need to set here. And this objective should be, as I mentioned, should be followed by a SMART. SMART. That means specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, reliable, realistic hote hobe, realistic, and time bound hote hobe. So these 5 criteria should be met when you will set the measurable project objectives. All right, so that when the project will deliver the outputs, then you can measure that yes, you have met the project objective. Okay, let me go to the next points. Approval requirements. In different level, what kind of approval is required and who will give the approval. If you know that, you should write here. Then high level project risks and also project exit criteria. When you will understand project is finished, this is known as project exit criteria. So when you will meet this criteria, then your project will be finished. So those will be the exit criteria. So this is generally these are the content of project charter, but this is written by Rita Malkai, not PMBOK, not PMI. So in PMBOK, we will see also some guideline, what will be the content of project charter that I will show you. But generally in practice, we use this kind of content in the project charter, but you can add or remove some parts of this content. It is not mandatory. It is based on your need. You can tailor this, but this will be short, very short. After reading these charters, anyone should be able to understand in high level what the project is going to do, what is the schedule, what will be the budget, what are the deliverables from the project, that the person who is reading, so that he can understand. And that you see finally the sponsor, the signatory will be the sponsors. So from this project charter, if a sponsor signed this project charter, that means the project officially now kicked off. You can start the project, right? As a project manager, now you can ask for budget, you can ask for resource, and you can start the project. Now people will listen to you. So this is the official document which which as a project manager strengthen you to run the project. So this is the content of project charter. Now let me again go back to our discussion, our presentation slide. So any question about project charter? What will be the content of project charter? As per the PMBOK, project charter is a mandatory required document. Before starting the project charter should be signed off by the sponsor. Otherwise, as per the PMI guideline, PMBOK guideline, you cannot start the project. So what is happening in project charter? Officially, number one, officially the project is chartered in the organization. That's why its name is project charter. Chartered means authorized in the organization. And second point is project manager is assigned to run the project here. Formally assigned, right? So now let me ask you a question. Who should write this project charter? What do you think? Who should write this project charter? Anyone can suggest?
Project manager is not responsible for writing project charter. That I can say.
Okay, anyone? Any comment? So, project charter. That means the project charter is the document where project manager is selected, assigned, and he is actually officially authorized to run the project. That means through this document, project manager is assigned. So that means project manager will come into scene after the project charter is signed, right? But what happened in practically, project charter should be written by, not practically, as per the book, project charter should be written by the sponsors because they know about the project, right? But practically what happens in the industry, project charter actually written by the project manager. He actually read from the business case, benefit management plan, and other feasibility study documents, needs assessment. He actually write the project charter. And then the sponsor sign on that project charter. So practically, actually this happens. Because in the organization, maybe you are officially in project charter, your name will be mentioned as a project manager, but in the organization, before the project, writing the project charter, the project manager is actually unofficially selected by the sponsors. So everyone knows he is going to be the project manager, and his responsibility is to write the project charter, and then the sponsors will sign the project charter. Okay. But as per the book, project sponsor are the responsible for the project charter, not the project manager. So when it is developed at the initiation stage, right? We are now where? Initiation, not planning. We are now initiation. So what we can say, project charter is not a contract, right? It is not a contract actually, right? It is not a contract. It is actually partnership. We can say partnership between the sponsor plus who? Project manager. All right. Again, here you see project charter is partnership between what? Requesting organization and performing organization. If you are working in a contact-based project, you are working as a vendor. Say you are the vendor. In government project, what happens? In government project, government is here. They are not doing anything actually. They are actually contracting out the project to the vendor organization or supplier organization. So at that time, actually, project charter is the partnership between the requesting organization and the performing organization. And in private sector, these things happens. When you are giving work to the vendor or supplier, then the project charter actually, they actually together develop the project charter. All right. So this is the partnership between the supplier and the buyer. All right, buyer and seller, or in government capacity, it will be the government and it will be the vendor, tenderer, or supplier. Okay, so this is the ITTO. Can you remember what is this? ITTO, right? ITTO means what?
Input tools technology.
Technology, not techniques.
Technique.
Techniques and outputs. Everywhere is there. There is a S, outputs, right? So we have to understand here. When I have explained to make you understand ITTO, I have given an example of making a cup of tea, right? Can you remember that? Making a cup of tea?
Yes.
Right. So that was a simple example. So develop project charter is the name of the process. And what is our target? Our main target, main output is we have to develop project charter, right? আমাদেরকে চার্টার তৈরি করতে হবে we have to make the charter, we have to write the charter, project charter. Someone need to write that, right? So project manager will write the charter. So output is the charter. So when project manager will do this process of integration management, his responsibility is to create the project charter. So that creation is known as output. To create the project charter, what are the inputs we need? See, what are the inputs we need? We are at this stage, we are having only two documents in our hand. One is business case, another one is benefits management plan. Can you remember? At the pre-project phase, right? This is pre-project phase. At pre-project stage, we have created two documents, business case and benefits management plan. So the content from these two documents will be flow into project charter, right? We have already seen an example of project charter. There we have seen the description of the project, title of the project, then what the project will deliver, right? So a lot of things are coming from the business case and benefits management plan. Even project schedule, project budget, all are coming from business case. And what are the benefits, measurable project objective, that is actually coming from these two documents, business case and benefits management plan. So when we are going to write project charter, these two documents we need to have with us, otherwise we cannot write this document. So that's why these two are inputs. So this way you have to understand. Just you cannot memorize this thing. You have to understand in project charter, there are a lot of things that is already in business case and benefits management plan. That's why these two documents should be with us, otherwise we cannot write project charter. That's why these two are inputs. Have you understood this thing? So every time you have to ask question, why this is input here? For this process, why this is input? And why this is output? All right, you have to ask. By asking, by questioning, you can understand why this is required for developing project charter. You cannot memorize these things, right? নাসির ভাই কি বুঝতে পারছেন?
জি রেজা ভাই,
All
I've
right.
been
Then agreement. Second thing is agreement. Just in the last slides, we talk about this thing. Requesting organization, that means buyer and seller. So if you are a vendor side project manager, when we do project, those who have experience, you know, when we actually do project, what happens? The buyer who actually doing the project manager is this side also, and at the seller or vendor supplier side, there is also another project manager. This project manager is responsible to deliver. This project manager is responsible to accept the deliverables as per the business requirements. All right. So at that time, what's happened? Between them, main thing works is agreement or contract. Right? So in the contract, everything is mentioned. What will be the price? What will be the deliverables? The project schedule, everything is mentioned in agreements. So for those cases, agreements is the main input to write the project charter. All right. And this agreement only not the agreement between the buyer and seller. This agreement can also in different shape. Like there can be MOU, memorandum of understanding between maybe 5, 4, 6 organizations. So when we are doing project, that MOU can be handy here. Or sometimes we use MSA, Master Service Agreement. Each time we don't select a vendor. Practically what we do, we actually, if we do the same kind of project, then what we do, we actually sign a Master Service Agreement with the vendor. So when we initiate a project, that Master Service Agreement can be also one type of agreements. All right, so this is agreements or contracts or MOU, the same thing. Or also there are other names also. But these agreements always means some legal documents. All right. So these two are the inputs. Then 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Where we have read this? 3 and 4. In which chapter we discuss about this? Anyone can say in which chapter we discuss this? These two.
chapter 2.
Chapter 2, na? The environment in which projects operate. The environment in which project operates. And we mentioned that project actually exists inside the organization. And the organization
Sales are internal in external.
Right. So when we're doing a project, always we have to consider these two things. So when we're writing project charter, when in every process, almost in every process, you will see these two is input. Almost in every process, these two will be inputs. Because when you are going to a process, where you are doing the process? In the project, inside the organization, inside the country. So you have to consider what are the positive and negative influences you have. Enterprise environmental factors, internal factors, and external factors. And organizational process asset, two types, right? Process, policy, procedure, and another one is what? EF is two types. Can you remember EF is two types? One is external, right? And I have given an example, pestle, right? Can you remember pestle? Pestle is the external factors, right? And external. Other one is what? Internal, right?
Internal.
Right. So similarly, organizational process asset. This is also was two type. One was processes, policies, procedures, which have direct impact, guideline or framework for the project of that organization where you are running the project, that you have to consider when you are developing the project charter. And also the knowledge base, organizational or corporate knowledge base. That means if you did the same project earlier, so why you will again write the project charter? Why you will reinvent the wheel again? Maybe some content you can use from the previous project charter. That will get from where? Your knowledge base. So that's why this we need to consider here as input. Maybe there are some template from a project charter. So that you have to use considering this organizational process asset knowledge base. All right. So these four are the inputs for this project charter. Now let me talk about tools and techniques. What are the tools and techniques? So first tool that you use to write the project charter is expert judgment. What is expert judgment? Can anyone say what is expert judgment?
আর এক্সপার্ট জাজমেন্ট হচ্ছে যে যা কাজের জন্য দক্ষ তার মানে নিজে বিবেচনা যে কাজটা কেমন হবে বা কতটুকু কি হবে এরকম আর কি যে কাজটা করবে।
Right, good. So expert judgment is the expertise of your people. Maybe you can take help from other departments, from your senior team members of your project. And as a project manager, why you are project manager? Because you are expert. So you can also give your expertise. So that is expert judgment. Then maybe you hire some SME. What is SME? Subject matter experts, right? You can hire consultants. So all these things actually will help you. All these things that fall under expert judgment. So these people will help you to write the project charter. If you are confused with anything, you can discuss with these guys. You can take input from them because they are the experienced people. So that is known as expert judgment. And as a project manager, why you are project manager? Because you are having expertise in this project and you will apply your expert judgment when you will write the project charter. So in almost every planning process, how many process in planning group?
49.
Planning group e koyta process ache? Under planning process groups?
Planning process groups.
We get 23.
Total 24, right? 24 processes. So in every processes, in planning process group, you see expert judgment as an tool. All right, because at planning actually we need advice, right? When we do any kind of planning, what we do? We generally take suggestion, advice from the people who have experience, expertise. That we always do for our personal life and also for our official and other things. So as you are doing the project, you also, in every planning you will see expert judgment is a common tool everywhere. So detailed thing I actually discuss here, and in this chapter when you read this, you will see it will cover, discuss what are the items or who will be under when we are talking about expert judgment, who will be, what it means by the expert judgment. You will see detail in this chapter when you will read the PM doc. Then data gathering technique, data gathering, right? So data gathering is the category. But many tools are these three. So data gathering means what? Why you are gathering data? Because we have to write the project charter, and we have seen in project charter there are different titles, content. So that we need to collect from other areas to write that project charter. So what we can do, we can brainstorm. Brainstorm means taking ideas from your teammates, from your stakeholders, who knows about the project best. So you can take ideas from them. That technique is known as brainstorming. All right. So every tools, there are total 132 tools and technique in PMBOK. Total 130 tools and technique in PMBOK, tools and techniques. In project charter, we are using how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 8. Similarly, in other 48 processes, we'll see other tools and techniques. So if we add up everything, then it will be 132 tools and techniques. And some places, these tool techniques will be repeated. In some processes, it will be, we will see again brainstorming. We will again see focus groups, interviews. So take second data gathering tool is focus groups. Can anyone say what is focus group for data gathering? What is focus group? বাংলাদেশের টিভিতে দেখি না ফোকাস গ্রুপ ডিসকাশন হয়, FGD, ফোকাস গ্রুপ ডিসকাশনস।
স্যার কতগুলা ক্যাটাগরির উপর আমরা ভাগ করি, যে এই ক্যাটাগরি এর উপর আমরা একটা
আলোচনা করব। So see, মানে ফোকাস গ্রুপ ডিসকাশন মিন্স সো
কয়েকজন থেকে কয়েকজন থেকে কোনো একটা টপিকের উপরে কোনো একটা ফিডব্যাক নেওয়া এরকম।
Right. So we actually bring together the experts who actually expert on that focus area, on that focus topic. Say we are talking about poverty, or we're talking about our kids, safe internet. Say we are talking about safe internet. So what we will do, we bring the experts of technology expert, then social expert, then those people who actually work with the kids. Then there is a facilitator, right, who actually conduct the whole process group workshop, process group meeting or discussion. So one topic and the same type of people we bring together to gather the ideas or the main points from the discussion. So that is actually focus groups meetings. So this is a good way of collecting or gathering data to write the project charter. So these focus groups we will see in lot other places in this PMBOK. All right. And third one is interview. This is the most common technique to collect data, right? Interview. You can take interview one to one, right? You are talking with a stakeholder and getting data, or one to many. That means you have done alone, but you are talking with 5 or 10 stakeholders together. So this is a one to many, or many to many, or many to one. So by conversation, by asking questions, you are gathering data by taking interviews of different stakeholders. So that is the common technique we use everywhere. All right. Interpersonal team skills. Now let's talk about what other tools and technique we can use when we are writing project charter. So these are the soft tools. Soft means what? That means people skill, interpersonal skills. So this is actually under interpersonal and team skills. So what are the soft skills we can use? Conflict management. So when you are going to do meetings with the stakeholders, interview with the stakeholders, what will happen? There may rise conflicts between the stakeholders. So as a project manager, you have to be a very good conflict resolver. You have to manage conflict. Otherwise, you cannot collect actual data from the team. Then project manager should be a good facilitator. Facilitation. What is facilitation? You will keep an environment where everyone can openly inform or discuss about his or her argument, her comment, without any fear. So that environment you have to provide to those people who are joining in the meeting or those whom you are talking. Otherwise, people will not talk. Then meeting management. In the projects, we have to do lot of meetings, right? Lot of meetings we have to do. But as a project manager, you have to ensure that all the meetings are result oriented, effective. How can you do the meeting management perfectly? That we'll discuss in communication chapter, because this skill is actually part of communication. So how we can manage a project meeting effectively, that is very important. We have to do a lot of meetings in the project, but please remember, we should not do meeting for no purpose or without any result. Every meeting should give us some result. So that meeting management technique you have to know and you have to apply when you will do the meetings with the stakeholders. And meetings means this is the technique. And meeting means there are a lot of meetings will happen. Focus group is one kind of meeting. Then brainstorming session will be another meeting. Interview can be another meeting. So a lot of meetings you have to use when you will collect data. Why? To write the project charter. So these are the tools and techniques that will help you to write the project charter. You see, this is the main output. What is the main output here? Project charter. But there is an additional output, assumption log. That means already I have defined what is assumption. That means we are considering these things will be true for the whole project life cycle. Those things are assumptions, right? Say the project will be held in our office premises. But what happened in COVID? What happened? We're not in the office, right? We're now working from home. So maybe for some project that was the assumption that we have to work from our office only. So these are things are assumptions. So all assumptions you have to write in the assumption log. That is another document, right? This is another document. So the assumptions you are thinking that will be true throughout the life cycle of the project, you can write down all assumptions in this document. So I have actually discussed all things, all points, detail here. But when I will go next slides, you will see discussion of everything that I discussed already. Business case, business case. Then I am skipping this. Project selection methods I am skipping for now. I will teach you or discuss about this in the last class. Then see, then agreements. I have already discussed. So this kind of agreements. Then what is EF? What is EF? Enterprise environmental factor. And OPM is organizational process asset. So I am talking about the inputs in detail here. So in the slides, you will see detail in this slides. But the most discussion I will do in this table. When I will discuss, most things I will discuss here. But in the slides, you will see everything is here. And also in PMBOK, same thing you will see. Then we are talking about tools and techniques. Tools and technique. So expert judgment is the first tool, was the first tool. So what is under this expert judgment? I have already discussed subject matter expert, then consultants, industry groups, experienced team members. Even if there is PMO office can be also they can also provide expert judgment. Then data gathering technique, brainstorming, that idea generation, taking ideas from your team members and analyzing those ideas. Then focus groups, subject matter experts with stakeholders. And also there should be a facilitator who will actually conduct the whole session. And interview. So all are data gathering techniques. And interpersonal team skill, we have talked about this, conflict management, then facilitation and meeting management. How we'll manage your meetings. And finally, last tool was meetings. And what is the output? Project charter. So in the project charter, what will be the content? So this will be the content that I have already shown you from the Rita book. So that thing is mentioned here. Only the title of the sections in project charter. Then, so as I mentioned, project charter actually, where from this project charter mainly written from the business case and benefit management plan. So the information we have already captured in business case and benefit management plan that actually flow into the project charter. Okay, there is a figure now. So this is all about project charter. All right. So any question as far?
ভাইয়া একটা কোশ্চেন করতে পারি, সেটা হচ্ছে প্রজেক্ট চার্টার, হ্যাঁ এখন জাস্ট একটা এক্সাম্পল কি আপনি দিতে পারবেন যে মানে এটার কোশ্চেন মানে এই টপিকটার উপরে যদি কোনো একটা কোশ্চেন আসে সেটা মানে কি প্যাটার্নে কোশ্চেনটা আসতে পারে, তাহলে একটু মানে রিলেট করতে পারতাম।
একদম তো ডাইরেক্টলি কোনো কোশ্চেন আসবে না প্রজেক্ট চার্টারে, তবে একটা কোশ্চেন, সহজ কোশ্চেন আসতে পারে আর কি। অনেক সময় মানে প্রজেক্ট চার্টারে যে কন্টেন্ট গুলো আমি দেখালাম এবং একটা ফিগার পিএম বকে আছে, সেটা সামহাও মিসিং হয়েছে কিংবা পরে হয়তো আমি দেখাবো প্রজেক্ট চার্টারে কি কি কন্টেন্ট থাকে। হ্যাঁ, এটা আমি আসলে স্কোপ চ্যাপ্টারে দেখাবো। সো প্রজেক্ট চার্টারে কি কি কন্টেন্ট থাকে, অনেক সময় প্রশ্ন পড়ে, খুবই সহজ প্রশ্ন, যে এই সেকশনটা আসলে কোন ডকুমেন্টে থাকে, এটা কি প্রজেক্ট চার্টারে থাকে নাকি স্কোপ স্টেটমেন্ট ডকুমেন্টে থাকে নাকি প্ল্যানিং ডকুমেন্টে থাকে। সো এরকম সিম্পল কোশ্চেন অনেক সময় হয়। সো খুবই বুঝতে হবে যে we have to understand clearly what will be the content structure of any document that is mentioned in PMBOK. So what are the content sections, content of PM project charter, that is very important to understand. And what I have already discussed, the high level things will be captured in project charter, and that will be not be more than 2-3 pages in length. All right, so that if anyone see or read the document, he can understand or she can understand what is the project all about. In some organizations, especially some projects which are actually donor funded, they actually published project charter in printed format to be fully colorful. How, what is the budget, what is the outcome deliverables, what are the main components of module of the project, what are the deliverables, budget, how much the budget, and who are the sponsors, ADB, World Bank or government, and what is the share of everyone when they are sponsoring. So with all this, they sometimes print, colorful print, 1 or 2 pages, and that actually they share with the public, for everyone. This is open for everyone to know about the project. But in officially private sector, and as per the PMBOK guideline, we have to write this document, project manager, and signed by the sponsor. And this will authorize you to run the project officially. Okay, so we are now going to take 10 minutes break. After break, we will start the next sections. Thank you, man. সবাইকে কি জয়েন করেছি?
জি ভাইয়া।
I am joined.
All right, let's. So we have finished the charter. Now we will start a new chapter, new process. So we will not follow the sequence, as I mentioned. What you will do now? Or is it a PMBOK? All right. Okay. So we just finished this one, right? Charter. Now we'll go straight to stakeholder identification. This one, identify a stakeholder. So we'll go through this knowledge area, identify stakeholders. So I'm going at the end of the slides, and this is okay. So this is the chapter. So this is slide number 830. So can you see the chapter number name? Project Stakeholder Management, right? Visible, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we actually state now we are following the 5 process groups. First initiation, then planning, then execution, then monitoring control, and finally closing. So we are actually going to cover the second process of initiation, that is identify a stakeholder. All right. So that process is actually under project stakeholder management. So what is project stakeholder management? That is, there are a lot of project stakeholders will be in the project. As a project manager, if we only follow the scope, manage the time and cost and quality, this will actually not bring the main success of the project. One of the main focus, the main success criteria of project management is to satisfy your stakeholder. Stakeholder satisfaction is the key. If you can't satisfy your stakeholders, it is not possible to get the actual benefit from the project, because you are doing the project for the stakeholders. If they are not happy, so how this project can be successful? So that's why one of the key responsibility of project manager to involve and engage with the stakeholders by himself, and to engage stakeholders in different important points. All right. So to increase the engagement in different decision points, different project review time, requirement gathering time, anytime you need, you have to integrate, engage with your stakeholders. And you have to ensure proper engagement, right engagements at the right time, right stakeholders in the project. So to make your project successful. So this is a very, very important aspect, stakeholder engagement or stakeholder management for a project manager to make project successful. If stakeholders don't help you, there is no way to make your project successful. So already we have talked a lot of things about stakeholders, and I think definition is already clear, right? Who is the stakeholder? That means anyone having any stake in the organization, a stake in the project, he is the stakeholder, right? It is not shareholder, right? Sometimes we talk about shareholder, not shareholder. This is actually a stakeholder. If you any people, any individual, and this can be 3 types. One is individual or person, group means labor group, union groups, employee groups, and organization like Rajuk, City Corporation, right? BSTI. So all these are the institution. So all this consist the project stakeholder. Another very important thing is you have to understand project stakeholder will not always be positive. What does it mean by positive? That means they will not always be supportive for your project. In some project, you will see a lot of people who are actually opposing or not giving any support to you. Even they actually don't want this project to happen. Right? We understand these things, right? Some will be positive stakeholders, those who will help you, but there will be some negative stakeholders who will not help you, even they will create different impediment, different blockades in different times so that the project cannot happen. This thing you understand? সবাই তো বুঝতে পারছেন? হ্যাঁ, সবাই ভালো চাবে না, ঠিক আছে? Project is working with dealing with change, and we actually don't accept change as a human. That is the problem. Always we try to oppose the change. So that's why that's sometimes that happens. And there are a lot of things, other things also. So as a project manager, you have to identify who are the stakeholders. First activity, first work of a project manager is to identify who are the stakeholders of your project and what are the expectations of those stakeholders in the project, and work accordingly to manage them, to engage them, to satisfy them. So we'll discuss 4 processes in this knowledge area, and main focus of this knowledge area is the engagement. There are 2 things about engagement. One is you have to engage all stakeholders in different situations of the project based on different needs. And as a project manager, you have to engage yourself with the stakeholders to get things done. You cannot sit one place and ask help from others. You have to move. You have to engage yourself. All right. So there are actually 2 components. One is engaging all the stakeholders. Another thing is, as a project manager, you have to engage yourself with different stakeholders. Very important aspect. So where we are, this is actually chapter number 13. So there are 4 processes, right? So in this slide, what I am showing actually, I am actually taken from page number 25, right? That's project chart. And I am showing which process of this knowledge area belongs to which process group. So identify a stakeholder is the under initiating process group. And as we are now at the initiation of the project, that's why actually I am reading this process. I am teaching this process. I am showing this process. And when I have come here, actually I will complete all other processes. Though these 4 processes are not under initiation process group. So what we are seeing here, identify a stakeholder is under initiating process group. Plan stakeholder engagement is under planning process group, right? So generally, the processes which are under planning process group, their name started with plan word. Mostly, their title is started with the plan word. All right. Second is executing process group. Third one, manage stakeholder engagement. That is under execution. And monitor stakeholder engagement, that under monitoring. In the closing process group, there is no process in stakeholder engagement management knowledge area. So now let me give you a high level idea about all the processes. What this process do in project management, why this process is required. So identify a stakeholder. So what its name suggests, simply suggests that you have to identify all the stakeholders who are having any kind of a stake in the project. If you miss out anyone, that can be a failure for your project. If you fail to identify a stakeholder. So simply identify all the stakeholders. Number 1 expectation from this process. Another process is not only identifying the name of the stakeholders, their contact address. Not only that, also you have to identify their requirements, their expectation, and understand their influence in the project. What kind of influence they are having in the project? Are they positive stakeholders or the negative project stakeholders? In the ladder of the organization where they are sitting, how much power they are actually having. So all these things you have to identify. Not only the names and the designation and the contact address, also you have to identify all of the stakeholders' requirements, their expectations from the project, what kind of influence they can impose, impact, have in the project, and also what kind of power they are having in their hand. So if you can't identify this, it is very difficult as a project manager to be successful. All right. So this is the main scope of this process. Second is plan stakeholder engagement. That means what? We have already identified all the stakeholders of the project and their expectations, requirements. So now what we do, we will actually plan for each stakeholder, what should we do to engage this stakeholder in different needs, different time of the project. Okay, so this is planning. After planning, what we will do, we will manage stakeholder engagement. That means the actions, the action items we have selected here, we have planned here, in execution, will follow that plan, so that we can make all the stakeholders aware of the project and also engage the stakeholders in different important points of the project. And finally, the last process of this knowledge area is monitor stakeholder engagement. That means you have to check whether the plan we have planned here, we have to monitor whether in execution we are following that or not. Number one. Number two, the plan we did, whether that plan is effective or not, or is there any chance of improvement. So that thing again need to check here, monitor stakeholder engagement. And third thing is there any need of change request? That means the plan is not working, or the stakeholder you have identified, he or she already left the organization. So new stakeholder has come and joined. So now your responsibility is to change the stakeholder list and update with the new stakeholders' requirements, influence, power, and understand him or his requirements, her requirements. So these are the responsibility of this process. And these are the scope of this process. Monitor stakeholder engagement. Any questions so far? কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে?
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
How to identify stakeholder? Any technique or something is
That
for
we discussed when I am going to dig down this process.
okay,
When
okay,
I will
okay.
discuss detailed identification, then we will see a lot of tools and technique. Yeah?
Okay, okay, okay.
So, yes, Nasir bhai, well.
Basically, to comprehend the flow of each of the knowledge areas, would that be wise to follow top-down approach or lateral approach, or I have to do the zigzag to get to know the flow?
To read the book, actually, the way I'm teaching here, I am showing you that you can follow.
Okay.
First time. Then second time, I think you will understand the flow.
Yeah.
Then you will follow the chapters. No problem. The first time, to make you understand, I think you can follow my approach.
Yes, thank you. Okay. In reality, I mean, after 13.1, I may not have the opportunity to go straight away into 13.2, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Thank you.
You may actually, what I do earlier, what I actually did after 13.1, I actually went to actually chapter 5, scope management.
Okay, got it.
But this time I am not doing that because I am actually completing these processes. Then I will go communication management, because communication is one of the processes that we do actually at the beginning. We set up the communication plan with the stakeholders. What are the meetings we will do and when we will do with the stakeholders.
but if we follow the PMBOK, I mean the sequence, then communication come after the scope, schedule, and cost. Then you have
cost, quality, and resource. Then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Identify stakeholder. So we will see detail. So this chapter is actually 34 pages and total 4 process. And if you search this word stakeholder, we are having subcopy, I think. So if you search this stakeholder, this you will get total this number 886 times this stakeholder or stakeholders word is spelled out in PMBOK. If you search from page 1 to 537, not the whole book. The whole book is most probably 900 plus pages. But the exam, the syllabus is, you have to just read only page 1 to 537. So in these pages, I have searched stakeholder and I have got 886 times this word is spelled out, mentioned in PMBOK. So you understand how much important stakeholder is. Okay. So these things actually I have already discussed last 10-15 minutes. So I think you have already understand what is the scope of stakeholder management knowledge area, what it does for project, and this is the 4 process, and which process group this belongs to, that is mentioned here again. And this is written in monitor, because earlier this was control. So PMBOK actually used control word, but control was actually looks out. You cannot control any stakeholder. If you say, even your wife, I am controlling you, তাহলে আজকে রাতে আর খাওয়া হবে না, বুঝছেন? So you will not have dinner today. So you cannot control your stakeholder actually. Rather, you can monitor software. So PMBOK actually choose software here, monitor your stakeholder engagement. So 13.1. So our target is what? Our target is to identify all the stakeholders of this project. After identifying all the stakeholders, where shall I put the names? We shall put the names in a document. The name of the document is stakeholder register. All right. So let me show a stakeholder register document. Then you can get a sense of what actually a stakeholder register contain. Let me show you. Where is that? Just I'm taking 1 minute. Where is it? So I am actually attaching this book, providing this in the WhatsApp so that you can download it, because I will follow this workbook in some classes. This is the workbook. You will see a lot of exercises in this workbook. So this is 140 page. So please download that book from WhatsApp. I am showing the project charter from here, stakeholder register from here. So in this workbook, you will get a lot of different kind of exercises of against different chapters. So here also there will be a section about templates, and I have given some templates here like business case, benefit management plan, project charter, then WBS dictionary, and I am just going to show you stakeholder register. Can you see stakeholder register here? So this is a simple template. So name of the stakeholder, position, role, contact information, then what are the requirements of the stakeholder, what are the expectations of the stakeholder from this project, what type of influence he can exert. So that influence you have to identify, and classification. Classification means whether he is internal stakeholder or whether he is external stakeholder. So that you can classify. So what I can see here from here, this is actually contact information, right? And these actually expectations. And this is actually the grouping of the stakeholders. So stakeholder register looks like this. Looks like this. So I will give two homework today. Today. One is writing a project charter following the Rita book that I have shown already, based on any of your project that you are doing or already have done or you have planned to do. So any kind of a small or big project, anything, you should write a project charter following the charter template that I shown you from the Rita book. And another activity I will give you to identify your key stakeholders in this document. Who are your stakeholders? At least one individual stakeholder, one group, and one institution. Those who are related to your project. All right. Okay. So let me now discuss about stakeholder register. So our target, what is our target? Our target is find all the stakeholders, their name, contact information, their address, their designations, and also their expectation for the project, and also the classification. So that will be in the stakeholder register. So now let's see. Now the inputs are lot more inputs than the project charter, right? In developed project charter, we have seen only 4 inputs, but here you see how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Total 12 inputs. All right. So our target, it is what? From this process, what is our target? Our target is creating the output. And what is the main output here? Stakeholder register. To create the stakeholder register. So what are that means what? We will take some documents where we will get the information of stakeholder. So that will be our input. So project charter, this document we have already created, right? In the first process, develop project charter. So we are taking this project charter to collect some names of the stakeholders to write down in our stakeholder register. So can you remember in project charter there was a section named stakeholder, key stakeholders. Can you remember? I have shown, right? So their name we can take in stakeholder register. Then sponsors. Sponsors are stakeholders or not? Sponsors.
Yes, stakeholder.
Yes. So the sponsor's name is in the project charter. So their name I will bring in the stakeholder register. Then there are another section, pre-assigned resource. Can you remember pre-assigned resource? That means key. That means there also, if there is some resource who are person or team people. So their name also will be included in the stakeholder register. So that's why actually we are taking project charter. Then another 2 documents we are taking, that is under business documents, business case, and benefit management plan. In benefit management plan, we'll get who will realize the benefit, the operation team or the customer or the user. Who are the users that will get, who is the customer, who are the users, and who will realize the benefit. That thing is mentioned in these documents. So that will pick up from there to our stakeholder register. Then communication management plan.
Reza bhai, what is pre-assigned resource?
That I actually discussed in the project charter earlier. And মৌ প্রশ্ন করছিল যে প্রিয়াসান রিসোর্স কি, তখন কি ছিলেন নাকি? সে আসছে, মৌ প্রশ্ন করছিল যে প্রিয়াসান
Just
রিসোর্স কি।
একটা টপ লাইন বলেন তাহলে
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, জাস্ট মনে করার জন্য। ওকে, pre-assigned resource means if sponsors think that some resources are required for running this project, so they can pre-assign those resources in the project charter. This architect or this programmer or this engineer will be in the project to help the project manager. So those are actually pre-assigned resources.
Thank you.
So then communication management plan. This actually we have not done yet, right? Communication management plan will be come from project communication management. Project communication management. So if we have high level communication management plan, that can help us, because communication management plan consists what? It actually contain for to whom we will, with whom we will communicate, and actually whom we communicate, mainly the stakeholders. Main communication will be done with the stakeholders. So that communication management plan can help us even to identify stakeholders. For example, in an organization, in communication plan where there is a PMO office, always you have to make a plan to communicate with your PMO office in different situations, different time. So that communication plan will help you to identify PMO office as a stakeholder. Then a stakeholder engagement plan, that we have not actually seen here. Still, that will come in the next process, stakeholder engagement plan. So initially, maybe that is not required. So one thing, if you can remember, in PMBOK, there is no mention that one process you have to do only once. Same process, iteration will happen. At different time, you have to do the same process again. When you are doing the initially this process, maybe stakeholder engagement plan is not ready yet, or communication management plan is not ready yet. Then actually you can skip this. But in the second iteration, when you are again doing this identify stakeholder, then this document will come into play. Then change log, issue log, recommend documents, these things also we have not created. So in the first iteration, this will not use. In the second iteration, when you will do again identify stakeholder, then this at that time we have to consider. And this is important. Number 5, agreements. Agreements means if you have already any contact with the vendor or supplier, if anyone have seen contact between the contractors or vendor or supplier, you will see there are some name of the stakeholders, key stakeholders. Who will be the key person for communication? Then who will be the project manager of vendor side? Then who will be the main contract administrator? So these people's name will be there. So those names we have to collect from agreements. And sometimes agreements, there is, you see, this is actually plural, agreements. That means one project may have a couple of agreements with different companies, different suppliers. So every contact you have to consider to collect, to gather the stakeholder names to write in the stakeholder register. That's why that is agreements, plural. And this 6 and 7, as I mentioned, everywhere you will see, almost all processes you will see this thing, enterprise environmental factor and organizational process asset. That means you have to consider these two things Enterprise environmental factor means key, external body. Say you are doing you are creating a building. So what will happen? Your stakeholder will be city corporation, right? City corporation. Rajuk will be the stakeholders. So their name need to add here, stakeholder register. So if you not consider enterprise environmental factor, then you will miss these stakeholders. And for Raju, they have different requirements, different documentation requirement, different authorization, permission, approval. You need to take from Raju. Similarly, you have to take from city corporation. You have to, and also from the environment office, right? Poribesh Adhidaptar, environmental ministry. So all this documentation you have to fulfill, otherwise you cannot proceed with your project. So if you miss a single stakeholder here, your project will be in jeopardy at any point. And organizational process asset means if there is any template from previous projects, your knowledge base, you can use that template to write the stakeholder register here. So as Shahid was asking, what will be the tool to identify stakeholders? So these are the tools you can use. Number one is expert judgment. We'll use our expertise, our experience. We'll use our brain to find out who will be the stakeholder for this project. So that is expert judgment. Second thing, data gathering. What kind of data gathering? That means we will gather the names of the stakeholders and their requirements, their expectation, their power, influence. So this is known as stakeholder data gathering. So we can ask questionnaire and surveys and one tool that we can use to collect stakeholder names and expectations. So this is a tool that will be used again and again in different processes in PMBOK. So what is questionnaire and survey? That means we can create some question, or for large audience, we can create some survey to understand the requirements of the stakeholders, right? In first or second class, I have given an example. In 60 villages, you may need to take survey from 1,000 or 10,000 people. So it is very difficult to take interview one by one. It will take a lot of time. It will be costly. Rather, you can take survey. You can set some questionnaire and you can send a one guy who can actually fill up that document, or also you can use mobile app. By using mobile app, you can collect the data, the information. So that is known actually questionnaire and survey. So when we are talking about tools and technique, very important thing is you have to understand what every tool and technique means, the concept behind these tools. And another very important thing is where to use what kind of tools. PMBOK mentioned here 7-8 tools, but it is not necessary that in every project, in every situation, you must have to follow these tools. No, maybe in a project you will use only questionnaire and survey, you will not use others. In other project, maybe you will use 2 or 3 three tools. So it will depend upon your expertise and the project requirements. So it is not mandatory that every tools technique, every inputs, every outputs need to use in every project. So second one is brainstorming. So brainstorming already we talked, right? Generating idea, right? Generating idea. So when we will talk about brainstorming, there are actually 2 terms in brainstorming. One is brain writing. Have you heard this term? Brain writing. And another one is brain storming. So brainstorming means we'll think, we'll generate idea, we'll think about new things. Any idea we're having in our head, we will share in the meeting. So this is the idea generation meeting, brainstorming session. But what is brain writing? Can anyone say what is brain writing? Or anyone heard about this thing, brain writing? কি আমরা শুনেছি what is brain writing?
না ভাইয়া শুনি নাই।
হ্যাঁ, so brain writing, brain storming যখন আমরা করি তখন কি সবাই মিলে, হ্যাঁ, we are sitting together in one room, one place, and we are discussing, we are generating ideas. Brain writing is what? Brain writing is actually we are sitting together, but first we are giving time individually to think about the generating the idea. What are the idea you are having in your mind individually, and that you have to write in a document before discussing with others. Why this? Because if anyone give any idea, then actually your thinking process actually move with that idea. But if you don't hear, listen to others' idea and just think about yourself and write down all the ideas you are having in your mind, then that will be actually different kind of ideas. It will not be influenced by others. That's why before starting the brainstorming, you should give 5-10 minutes individually, everyone, to generate their idea and not to discuss or disclose with the team, with the others. Just write down in a document that then when final brainstorming session will start, then everyone will share his or her idea. So that is known as brain writing. All right. So that way actually you can.
হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা ভাই একটা কোশ্চেন যেটা সেটা হচ্ছে যেমন আপনি যেটা বললেন যে হ্যাঁ আইডেন্টিফাই স্টেক হোল্ডার্স, এটার জন্য আমি হচ্ছে টুলস টেকনিক্স ইনপুটস যেগুলো আছে মানে প্রয়োজন বুঝে আমি ওগুলা ইউজ করব, রাইট? তো এখন মানে আমি ইউজটা কি এখানে যে কয়টা টুলস দেওয়া আছে বা যে কয়টা ইনপুটস দেওয়া আছে এগুলোর মধ্যে থেকেই আমাকে ইউজ করতে হবে নাকি এর কম মানে বাইরে থেকেও ইউজ হয়?
And you can use from outside of this inputs to techniques and outputs, no issues. But PMBOK actually try to capture the mostly used tools and techniques in the industry. So you can use this, or if you have your own tool, that is always open, you can use. All right, because it is not possible to gather and collect all the tools and techniques, inputs, outputs from the industry, because there are a lot of deviations in different sectors, anything, right? You can actually skip something based on your requirement. So brainstorming, we actually know what is brainstorming. Someone is calling me. Mobile, if you use mobile data, then another problem is if you call, if anyone call you, then let me see who called me. Sorry. All right. Okay. So we are back. So brainstorming is the same thing that we discussed earlier in the project charter. The same thing you can use here. But please consider also brain writing. That thing has been mentioned here. So Nasir Bhai and others, those who are actually interested to sit for the exam, you will get a question from brain writing because this is a new thing. It is not mentioned in earlier any versions of PMBOK. So brain writing, you will get most probably one question from brain writing. So your concept should be clear about brain writing. So data analysis. Next tool is data analysis. Data analysis. Under data analysis is stakeholder analysis. That means the thing I mentioned earlier, that not only I
কথা বেজে আসতেছে
this thing in some detail in later slides. And documentation analysis.
Echo হচ্ছে
ইকো হচ্ছে?
হ্যাঁ, কথা বেজে আসতেছিল।
ইন্টারনেট ভালো ডিস্টার্ব হচ্ছে না। এখন কি ইয়াতে ফিরে আসবো? মোবাইল ডাটা বাদ দিয়ে discussing this. All right. So stakeholder analysis. So we will talk more in next slides. Then document analysis. This is a common tool. This is a common tool. Everywhere we use this document analysis. That means we collect documents from the organizations to understand who are the stakeholders and what are the expectations. So document analysis is a common tool. Everywhere when we start a project, first thing generally what we do, we actually try to collect all the existing documents and read out the documents like TOR, contract document, other project related documents that we read and try to understand who are the stakeholders and what are their requirements. Then another graphical tool we will see in this category. When you will see data representation category, that means there are some graphical tool there. Representation means graphical. So we will read a graphical tool about stakeholder identification. That is stakeholder mapping or stakeholder representation. That is a nice tool that is actually used in the industry. We'll see that. And finally, meeting can be another tool. So main output is what? Stakeholder register. And there you see there are additional outputs, right? One is change request. This change request will not happen in the first iteration. Maybe when additional stakeholder will join in the organization, join in the office, or join in the project, then to again identify the stakeholder and his or her requirements, and maybe we will do the iteration again. And sometimes maybe the stakeholder engagement plan, maybe you need to update that plan, right? Then actually you have to do the change request. So initially change request will not come, it will come in the second or third iteration when you are going to do the same thing again. And what you are seeing here, those documents, the planning documents, right? These are the planning documents. So in PMBOK, total 18 planning documents are mentioned. How many? 18. Total 18 planning documentations. Name of the 18 planning documentations are mentioned in PMBOK. So communication management plan, stakeholder engagement plan, among those from this 18. So those planning documents we are taking as input. After change request in the second next iteration, maybe you can update the planning documents. This is actually update, which thing we are taking as input. After doing this process, maybe we need to update those documents. So that is I mentioned here in update section, plan updates. And another thing is project document updates. So other than the planning documents, rest of the documents are named as project documents. Let me share this concept about documentation in PMBOK, because I will mention this again and again. So there are 4 kinds of documentation in PMBOK. PMBOK actually talk about 4 kinds of documents. So one category of documents is known as planning documents, plan documents, right? Second category is known as project document, project document. Third category is mentioned as business document. And last category is procurement document. So in PMBOK, again and again we will see mention of these 4 categories of documents. All right, 4 categories. So business document How many business documents we have seen so far? Can anyone say how many business documents we have seen so far? Can anyone help? 2 documents we have seen, right? সবাই শুনতে পাচ্ছি তো না? সবাই শুনতে পাচ্ছি?
জি স্যার শুনতেছি।
হ্যাঁ। So বলতে হবে তো business document, two documents, business case, another one what? Business benefit management plan. এটা বলতে বলতে আমার অলরেডি মুখ ব্যথা হয়ে গেল। So these two document falls under business documents. So under business document, there are total 2 documents mentioned in PMBOK. In planning, under planning document, we will see total 18 documents. Okay, and in under project document, this is project document, you will see 33 documents mentioned in PMBOK. And number of procurement documents, that is actually not mentioned in PMBOK. Name of the documents mentioned, but how many procurement documents will be used in project, that is not mentioned in PMBOK. Because procurement document you cannot actually fix, because it depends upon the procurement, procurement entities and procurement rules and regulations of that country or of that organizations. So you cannot actually specify how many documents you will use for procurement. So that's why there are main documents, name of the main documents are mentioned in PMBOK that are generally used in procurement, but the total number is not mentioned because it is not possible to mention. So 18 is planning document, 33 is project documents, 2 documents are business documents that we have already discussed in chapter 1, and others are actually procurement documents. Okay, so let's see now detail. In some tools and technique we'll see detail. So as I've already mentioned, identify stakeholders, 2 things: identify stakeholder and analyzing their requirements. So these are inputs, charter, business documents, and project management plan. And under project management plan, these 2 documents we will use as input. And under project documents, we will use these 3 documents as input. Already I discussed in the table. And if you have agreements, then that you have to consider. And EF and OPA, okay, under enterprise and control factors and organizational processes, these are the things you have to consider when you're going to identify stakeholders. Tools is expert judgment. Yeah, please.
Why do we consider change request as an output?
Yeah. Because if there is any change, for example, a new stakeholder joined in the organization that we have not analyzed yet. So when we will identify the new stakeholder and we will identify their expectations, maybe that is different than earlier expectations. Then this change request will actually push to replan our stakeholder engagement plan.
Yes.
And considering the new stakeholder, we have to update our engagement plan. So that change request will actually work as a catalyst for changing the plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So data gathering, we have already talked, questionnaire and survey. If the audience is big size, then we will use that. And brainstorming, one is brain writing and one is brainstorming, right? And stakeholder analysis, when we are going to analyze the stakeholders, you have to find out what kind of interest, rights, ownership, knowledge, or contribution the person, the people have in this project, that you have to consider. This is actually known as the stakes of the stakeholder. So at least you have to consider these things when you are going to analyze the stakeholders. And one thing I was mentioning that stakeholder mapping or representation tool, that is actually a graphical presentation. So these graphs, these figures are not in PM, are not having in PMBOK. You will not see this. So this is actually collected from internet, over the internet. And also you will not see this picture also. If you see, this is actually taken from 5th edition of PMBOK. In 6th edition, this figure is not actually used in PMBOK 6 version. But the idea is discussed in this tool, but this image is not there. But I have kept this image so that you can easily understand what actually this stakeholder mapping means. So this tool actually not actually only belongs to PMBOK. In different industry, the same tool is used. This tool is known as stakeholder mapping. So what we are doing here, my voice is okay?
Yes, absolutely fine.
Fine. So someone is calling me. Okay. So see what we are doing here. This is actually two-dimensional graph. So in x-axis we put interest of the stakeholder, and in y-axis we put power of the stakeholder. Okay, power means what? A secretary is having the most power of a ministry, right? The secretary, and after the secretary, who will having the most power? The additional secretary, then joint secretary, then deputy secretary, right? Then senior assistant secretary. So power and interest, how much he has having interest for this project. So what we are seeing here, this A, B, C, D, E, F, G, these are the actually, maybe you can use the name or you can use the ID of the stakeholder. So say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stakeholders you have identified, and these are the IDs for those stakeholders, right? So what you are going to do now, you are actually created this two-dimensional graph, and you have actually divided this into 4 quadrants, right? 4 quadrants. So what we are seeing here, those stakeholders who are actually under this quadrant, see this quadrant BHF. So in this quadrant, we are seeing BHF, these 3 stakeholders. So what this quadrant means, these stakeholders are actually having highest, right? High. This quadrant what means? This quadrant is high interest, right? High power high and interest high, right? So these 3 stakeholders we have to manage closely. Our strategy will be, you have to manage closely because they are having the most power and they are having the most interest for this project. And you see here, these stakeholders are low interest and low power. So we have to our strategy will be just monitoring them. And these stakeholders in this quadrant, C and E, they are having high interest, but their power is low, right? Their power is low. So our responsibility, our strategy to dealing with these stakeholders will be keep them informed. In different situation, we have to keep them informed, sending email or keeping them in email, keeping in the meetings, keeping them in loop. We will keep them informed. And you see in this quadrant, what happens? Interest is low. For this quadrant people, their interest is low, but they are actually high power people. They are having high power. Okay. So what our strategy will be? We have to keep them satisfied, because maybe they are not having interest, but they are actually powerful. So if they are not satisfied, or they want to make some ado or some problem in the project, they can easily make. So that's why always as a project manager, you have to focus on keeping them satisfied. Have you understood this? Very nice thing.
Yes, sir.
So you can use this after identifying a stakeholder. You can use this mapping to analyze them. So those people who will be here, you have to close them and manage them closely. Otherwise, you can't make your project successful. And these people have to keep satisfied. Otherwise, at any moment, they can create problem in your project. So this way, actually, you have to set a strategy, your mindset, to dealing with your people, dealing with your stakeholder. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Okay, so I think, is there anything else? Okay, that was the two-dimensional, right? Two-dimensional analysis of stakeholders. But now PMBOK is saying that stakeholders are becoming so complex now that you can actually just using two-dimensional, only power and interest, or power or influence, interest, influence, only analyzing two attributes of the stakeholders. You cannot actually understand your stakeholders. You have to, what you have to do, you have to actually think, consider other attributes also, not only interest power. You see, not only interest power, maybe you have to add attitude also. That means you have to use three-dimensional analysis, 3 or 4 or multi-dimensional. PMBOK says not three-dimensional only. Cube means three-dimensional, but you have to use multi-dimensional attributes to analyze your stakeholders. So this figure also is not in PMBOK. This is taken from wiki, internet. So main idea is the two-dimensional thing we used earlier, but now the stakeholders are becoming so complex. So not only two-dimensional attribute can give you the proper analysis for the stakeholders. You have to use cube, multi-dimensional attributes to analyze your stakeholders and understand your stakeholders. Another model is mentioned in PMBOK to analyze your stakeholders, that is salience model. Salience model, we use actually Venn diagram, and we use three attributes. One is power, legitimacy, and one is urgency. So based on these three attributes, we draw Venn diagram, and we try to identify which stakeholder actually falls in which area. For example, those people who are actually following this area, 7, that means he has having power, legitimacy, and urgency. So see, for him, actually, we have to give him definitive information, definitive information. And we have to plan for him a definitive guideline, how we are going to handle him, manage him, engage him, because he is having power, legitimacy, and urgency. All right. So this way you can also analyze your stakeholders. So this is known as salience model, using Venn diagram and using three attributes. And which area a stakeholder falls, based on that, you will understand from this. Say, for example, 1, he is having power, but he is not having any kind of interest, not legitimacy, not urgency, but he is dormant for you. At any time, he can raise his voice and he can create problem. So you have to, those people who are having this, so you have to keep a special eye on them. Okay, when you are analyzing, you also analyze upward. Who are your, you have to consider your bosses in the ladder. Who are your up? Say maybe you are project manager, because you are having program manager, portfolio managers. Maybe you are reporting to functional managers and PMO office. So you have to do an upward analysis if they have any requirement. downward, that means your team or who are working below you. So that analysis you need to do. Outward means external, outside of the organization. Whom do you need to consider and how you have to communicate with them? How do we make them happy? How do you identify them and meet their requirements? Then sideward means your peer project managers. Your peer project managers is meaning sidewards. So also you have to work with that peer project managers, because maybe in different situation and different work activities you have to take help from them. And prioritization, you have to also prioritize your stakeholders, who will be the stakeholders that you need to frequently engage with them, or engage them in the project. That prioritization you need to do. One very critical thing, you have to understand all the information you are capturing in a stakeholder register that cannot be shared with everyone, right? Maybe you're saying that stakeholder is dormant, or so that information should not be seen by the stakeholder. So there will be a lot of information related to stakeholder engagement that you should not place in the shared document, so that everyone can see, because that will create another problem. So even in PMBOK, if you read thoroughly, you will see there will be a 1-2 lines that all the information you are doing in stakeholder engagement that should not be in the shared document. In some other places, we put that information. So meetings will be another tool, and we have already seen a stakeholder register. What are the contents of a stakeholder register? One is the identification information, assessment information, requirement, expectation, influence. Those are actually assessment information, and classification, whether they are internal or external, or you can use any kind of classification. You can use upward, downward, any kind of. So that is actually discussion of your requirement. So here is also a template shown here, and also with some example, so you can also see this. And change request will not come in the first iteration. In the second or third iteration, it will come. There I have given an exercise here. Exercise here. Can you see this?
Yes.
Please, can you tell me what will be the answer? A, B, C, D. What will be the answer? First read out the question, then try to find out the question answer. If anyone get the answer, please let me know. Anyone? What will be the answer? পারছি? কেউ পারছি? Hello? হ্যাঁ?
সি।
রাজন বললেন সি, না?
Yes, sir.
Rajan C. Anyone else? What will be the answer?
P.
B or D? Sulaiman?
P.
This one? This one, Sulaiman?
P. A, B.
B.
Yep.
C হওয়ার কথা।
All right. So answer will be C, huh? Answer will be C, right? Answer will be C, right? Because we are talking about home. We are talking about Sponsor. Sponsor is the main guy, right? So his influence and impact will be the highest.
Yes. Sponsor has
Yes.
interest, also power.
Yes, he is the top guy, right?
Yes.
For his, he is having the almost all the influence and impact he is having.
Yes.
So C will be the answer, right? So in the
Yes.
next slide, you will get the answer and also the back explanation. So Sulaiman, if you have any confusion, you can see the answer. So we have completed the process.